outbound sort of organic type stuff where you're not paying to put it out there. And the way that I kind of describe that is, since you've established this beautiful first impression page, like this place where everyone's landing and all of your referrals are converting, well, you can let other people know about it too, right? And that's where the content creation comes in. So I see that as a tier 3 strategy.
And that can come from, your content strategy can come from your customers that love you and want to, you want to ask them, interview them or get a testimonial from them and add that to your
testimonial, all of your content, all your social media, your podcast, your newsletter, even your blog writing, right, for your website, all of your content that you're creating is tier 3. So it's all of the media, copywriting, testimonials, press that you've gotten, whatever that stuff is in tier 3. So you're establishing this outbound sort of presence, which is in effect the magnet to get everybody back to your first impression. Although once you get to the outbound stuff, it's not first impression anymore. It becomes the conversion vehicle, because the first impression would be the content. That's the first time that they would see you.
Gotcha.
And then that would loop back. So the conversion section is called a first impression from the referral side.
Gotcha.
But from the other side, it's more of a conversion vehicle.
So it's kind of the middleman between both of these sides.
Right, like it exists in one thing, but it represents something different to the people who are coming to you warm versus the people who are coming to you from outbound.
Gotcha.
And then tier 4 is paid ads. So tier 4 is either when you have a ridiculous amount of money to spend on it,
right,
or I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of paid ads, honestly. It exists. McDonald's runs paid ads. It makes sense. But the amount of money that you have to put to earn your way through traffic in a paid conversion, it's kind of ridiculous for the normal small business owner. Right. And unfortunately, that's where most people start. They think that they started a business and they got to start running ads. And in fact, if you simply, here's the strategy. You started a business brand new. You don't have any customers. Do work for free for 5 of your friends. And guess what? You have at least 3. I hope you convert at least 3 of your 5 friends. You have at least 3 people who now you can start your business, whatever service you do. Now you start putting in that nurturing campaign to those 3, and those 3 start to become your business generation and your business growth machine. Starting a business with nothing and thinking that you're gonna be able to buy your way into an established client base, that's why people go out of business in 6 months or 12 months.
Well, and a lot of times too, if you jump right into paid ads, and I did this, I bought the ads, got all the leads, and then I didn't know how to convert the leads.
Yeah. I don't do sales.
But this person was more than happy to sell me building all the ads and setting it all up with Facebook and charging me for all that. Oh yeah, I'll take your money. We'll get you leads. I'll guarantee we'll get you leads. Mm-hmm. Awesome. How much? Take my money. I want leads.
Exactly.
But nobody ever told me, oh, now.
They just called. I'm like, do you want to come in?
Pay me money? And at that point, then you're like, oh, sales and the process and how do I convert these cold leads into hot leads, and how do I make conversions and sales from that? And that's a whole another book.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it would land somewhere in this tier 2. It's not something that I really teach. I don't teach sales in that way. There's certain things that I'm pretty good at, and there's certain things that I'm just not. Even if I'm good at internally, I'm not good at teaching other people how to do it.
But if you keep people in the 1 through 3, the sales is easier because they already know about you. They already like you. They're already have been researching you. They're already kind of on board. Like, they're
more or
ready
less, you've broken down a lot of walls.
Yeah. And then
especially if it's a friend referred somebody in, they saw your website, and they're like, okay, cool, and they contact you, and now they're like approaching you, and
it's pretty much easy at that point.
I mean, a lot of my referrals who, my friend referred me. I checked out your website. Where do we start? And they show up, and it's like 100% sales close. Like they're already sold. They literally come with their credit card ready.
Yep.
Versus somebody on tier 4 which saw your ad, they're like, I saw another ad just like this, so I'm just shopping around. They want to check you out, maybe come in and do a tour, but they still have another few people that they want to go visit, or another couple of businesses they want to visit first. So they're going to put up some walls and ask you a lot of the hard questions, and you got to answer them all right, and you got to be on point. And if you're not, they're like, oh, go to the next place.
Yeah, you know what? You're right, because you're kind of aligning this idea of the warm connections through referrals. Like you said it, I don't even know if you said it intentionally, but you said, "Oh, my friend referred me, and I checked out your website, and I'm going to," right? So you naturally just went right to that tier 2 where you need to have. That's why that's so important. But it needs to work on another thing that people do. They just go out and say, "Oh, I'll buy a website. Like I'll buy a website, or I'll build it myself." That doesn't work. Or I'll buy a website, and someone's going to charge me $2,500 or $7,000 or whatever it is to buy a website, but the website has nothing to do with the people who are referring them business, has very little to do with their organic outreach, and potentially sometimes never anything to do with their paid outreach. The developer of your web, your home page, your first impression page or conversion page, all of this needs to be in communication with each other. People try to piecemeal, well, I'll get someone to do my email thing, and then I'll do, because this is the cheapest person for this and this. Now, I'm not saying that you need to have an agency that does all in one, because a lot of times all in one means perfect at none, but at least the communication between the 4 as opposed to doing them in isolated events. But I like what you said with regards to what I call a likelihood of close, right? It's the likelihood of conversion, the likelihood of making the sale. The ironic part of it is the higher the cost of the lead, the less likely you are to convert the sale. So if we do it the other way, you spend whatever you spend for leads for paid ads, and from your own experience, they know very little about you, and you have to work very hard to get that sale, which means you're much less likely to convert the sale, and statistically you are much less likely to convert the sale. And if you bring it back to the organic reach, well, in the organic reach, you've made more than one impression for the most part at this time, because if they found you on Instagram, or they found you through your newsletter, or they found you on YouTube, it's very easy for them to continue watching YouTube, continue scrolling through Instagram. So you've now created this opportunity through your content to nurture that person to get to know more and more about you. That's how they begin to trust you. They begin to like you. Then the know, like, and trust thing, and that makes the sale much easier than it does a paid ad, right? So it's still expensive because cameras, subscriptions, time to edit videos, to write letters, whatever it is. So there's still a high cost associated with that, but it increases the likelihood.
So they're seeking you out,
more or less,
at some
as long as you're not running the ads, right? They would have come across you at some point organically. That's the key, through Google search, through potentially just on someone else's page. Maybe not a direct referral, but someone just signs up to Twitter and they know you and they follow you, and they're like, oh, who else is Chris following? And they, people find each other in weird sorts of ways. And then they continue to follow that page, and they look and they, oh, I like what this guy's saying, or I like what she's putting out there. It really resonates with me. Let me go check out what her business is about. And that brings them back to tier 2, to that website, right? Because that's where they're going to end up. And then it's up to the website to convert. But when you talk about your 3 ways, you have your warm referral type awareness level, your organic awareness level, and then your paid awareness level. As you go from paid, high cost, low conversion, mid cost, mid conversion, low cost, high conversion.
Yeah.
So now we're sitting in this place where we're like, okay, we have the potential for 2 infinite loops, which is through repurchasing or referring, and it's our lowest cost because it's most upfront cost, where you have to put these systems in place, and there's an education component too. Like, how do I educate my referral? Or my client? How do I nurture them in such a way. When do I ask for a testimonial? Is it a Google sticker on my door? Or am I actually providing value to them, and 3 weeks down the line, I ask them for a testimonial? And I can go into a whole thing about how to get that done the right way and the wrong way. So now I've nurtured this this relationship so much so that they want to reciprocate, and they reciprocate by either buying again or referring someone else to your business. Low cost, super high potential likelihood for conversion. And you have your lowest cost, your highest likelihood for conversion, and 2 potential infinite loops. Like, it makes no sense to me in the world why that wouldn't be the first thing that everybody would start. And like, that's how you would drive all your businesses. You can do it with one happy customer and then grow an entire business from that.
And that's how I've
Maintain my business from not knowing anything about advertising or marketing or anything about business ownership, and somehow managed to fumble through keeping my doors open since 2006.
Yeah.
Because referrals and keeping those people happy and keeping those customers satisfied and wanting to come back and wanting to tell their friends about it.
And
I didn't realize that I was doing it, but it kept me afloat. It kept my business going, even though 90% of the other things of managing a business, building systems, hiring people, HR, I had nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the tier 1 that you're talking about kept me going.
So isn't that interesting, right? So you maintained a business for what, 16 years, you said, from 2006?
Yeah.
Something like that? So almost 17 years by only doing just this one thing and not knowing shit about business the rest of the other way, right? So imagine people who get into business who actually have these other types of skills like sales, operations, whatever it is. The unfortunate thing that happens with them is that they get like sharked by these people who are like, buy paid ads, and they lose all their money because they don't know that end of the business. So they go out of business in a year and a half, whereas you stayed in business for 17 years doing this strategy, exactly the strategy I'm discussing.
There you go.
And now when I work with business owners who are doing well on a lot of these other things, I implement that piece into play, and all of a sudden everything starts to look much easier.
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa, that's that I didn't realize. Okay, all right. So now I can do more of this service, more of these things, and not worry about even so much creating content and paying and doing paid outreach. I'm not saying don't create content. I'm not saying don't ever buy an ad, but there's a time and a place and what I believe to be a sequence to be an optimal performance and be able to sustain business for a long period of time. I have people who have been in business, friends of mine. I have certain business I've been running for 30 years. I have other people who have been running business for 20, 25 years. And the common denominator across all of this, what became kind of my epiphany of this, was that all of us were doing this, whether or not we realized we were doing this. And these are the people who have a business for 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. And the people who are out of business in a year and a half are like, I started my business, I dumped 20 grand in ads in the first week, and I'm broke.
It's almost like the way an American family-owned business has always operated. They grew, they became part of the community. You get your vacuum repaired at
Frank's Vacuum Repair down the street. Everybody goes there.
They tell everybody,
I want a vacuum broke. Go see Frank.
Go see Frank. And
Then Frank hands it down to his son.
and his son keeps it going.
And they
Never do any advertising.
advertising. So it's interesting because it sounds like innovative, but it's kind of
What's been keeping businesses going
for all of the
Forever.
And
And the key word there is relationships. And what's innovative about it today is that we've gone down this road where we're constantly seeking approval or maybe not so much approval, but we're constantly thinking that the next best thing is somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like we're constantly like, if we could just get 5 more followers, or if we can get 10 more likes, or if I can get 1 more client, right? And you spend so much time trying to get that 1 more client instead of realizing that the real value is in the clients you already have, the relationships you already have.
I think I think the word scalability is what people in their head think. I need to scale my business. I need to get to that next level. I need all this audience and all these people and eyes in front of me. And they forget that in order to scale,
You need that solid foundation of core customer base that's going to go scale it for you when they're telling, like you said, cascading to tell their friend tells their friend. That's how you scale a business, is by treating the customers you have, like put them on a pedestal and give them the opportunities to go preach for you from the mountaintop.
like,
Right.
and then
They're helping, instead of you trying to bypass all that system, that momentum you already have,
and trying to
find
find
momentum elsewhere, because I buy this course that's going to help me to get more audience to
scale my business. And so it's like a trendy word. Like every
business wants to scale. So we have the internet, we have access to billions of people. Let's scale our business. But you then forget about, oh yeah, what about my customer base and all the referrals they've given me? And it got me also thinking, like
some of my staff now,
as I'm shifting my business model to instead of servicing the clients that are getting the services, but servicing the clinicians and the trainers that are giving the services to the clients. This is my clientele base now, is the renters and the business owners, and the ones that are in the space that love being here and are posting on social media because they love being in the building. Those are the ones that I really want to nurture and grow and mentor and be there for, because now I'm seeing, like what you're telling me is I need to leverage them, because they're doing the things that are going to cost me money to do. They're telling people about it and inviting people and inviting their clients in, which helps, if they're happy and they're inviting their clients in, they're busier and busier, and that just that gets amplified by everybody else that wants to be a part of that. Like, oh, look, these, Chris brought these people on their core. There are 5 trainers that are doing awesome, and they love it, and they're talking about it, and they're even wearing Best Day stuff, and they don't even work at Best Day. They rent space from Best Day. So they're part of, they love the culture and the brand, and they help to grow it just organically. So I want to look at the ways, how can I make them happier? How can I keep them satisfied? And pushing them and challenging them to become better at what they do. So yeah, it's a little.
And I'll jump on that. So first, just to put a button on the thing with the scale. So there is each one of these avenues, whether it be referral-based marketing, I call it brand advocacy management.
Brand advocacy management.
Yep.
Is that your tier 1 title?
That's my tier 1. That's my BAM. Because all right, I'm like.
The BAM.
Yeah.
Brand.
Yeah.
Advocacy management.
Yeah.
BAM.
Bam. Bam. Right? So that's BAM. So whether it be referral, so we're talking about creating awareness. So whether it be creating awareness through referrals, creating awareness through organic reach, or creating awareness through paid reach, right? All of those strategies work.
Right.
They all do. They all create awareness. Each one of them comes with their own parameters with regards to, like we talked about earlier, the cost, the conversion rate, the effort. The cost that people think is only just money, right? Time, effort, management of the system, all sorts of things go into cost. Then your conversion. And what, are you converting not only just a sale, because even then, that's where you convert a sale. Even if you convert a sale from an ad, if you don't establish this brand advocacy management platform, this program to build the relationship with that client gets the receipt, they walk out, you have to start all over again. That's why it costs so much money, because you have to keep doing that. If every time a trainer rented from you, they rented for an hour, then they left, you said thanks, think about the way that impacts them and their choice for what they're going to do next,
right,
as opposed to putting some type of a system in place. And I don't know off the top of my head what that system would be, but putting something in place to incentivize them to come back and rent here again. And like you were describing your 5 core, yeah, I mean, if you put your time, energy, and effort into them, they are posting on social media. And on their social media are other trainers. Trainers know trainers, right? So those trainers eventually are going to be like, wait a second. So they're renting this space. It's costing them less per hour, or I should say they're making more per hour because they're renting it as an independent contractor versus working at like a big box fitness gym or something where they're getting paid the small percentage. When they're renting it from you, they're getting paid the big percentage from their own clients. So now the other trainers are going, wait a second, they're keeping more of their money. The owner of the place cares about them like they're wearing his brand. So obviously they care about him and he cares about them. Something good is happening over there. And that becomes that even them posting is their content, but it's your system of nurturing, care, respect, kindness, whatever you're cultivating here within these four walls is going to incentivize either them to publicly say, hey, trainer friends, come train where I'm training, because trust me, I'm making more money than I did at this other spot. My clients are happier, it's cleaner, whatever it is. Or just organically, that's where their phase of organic is. Someone's going to say, I like what Christy's doing over there, and I'm going to go check out that place and see if I can bring my clients over there instead too, right? But that's going to come from the time, the energy, the effort, and the maintenance that you put into your relationship with your existing clients who are now the trainers. Right. And that builds your ecosystem and your infinite loop of people coming to you at a low cost with a high conversion rate. Because when someone from their social media profile or someone from their, what is it when you do personal training? Is it a certification? Or when you get qualified or whatever? So someone went through certification with them 3 years ago, and then they connect with them again on Facebook. Hey, what's going on at the, oh yeah, this is where I work out. And oh, you don't work for the company. You're your own company. You just rent space here. Holy shit, I didn't know that existed in fitness. It's like a WeWork model, right? And that person comes in, or one of these people here is going to speak at the place where they trained, right? Where all the new personal trainers are coming out. And what are they going to talk about? Well, if you have a really good relationship with them, they're going to talk about the place where they work. And now all of this stuff costs you nothing except the front end awareness, your knowledge, and the front end build that you put in the relationship management with your clients. And then trainers are knocking down your door trying to come in here. Or you can run $10,000 of ads on Facebook and try to get personal trainers to show up here, and then you can start to convince them that this is the place for them to be. Either one could work.
Right.
I would prefer to do
plus just you're
like
building,
tier one.
Plus you're building just, you're building natural relationships.
Yes, real life actual relationships too, which is a bonus that we don't even talk about.
I think anytime we see an ad, we just put up a barrier. Like, okay, I don't know. There's something just icky about like advertisements. And it's not to say that advertising is unethical or anything along those lines, because ads have their place. Like, when I'm ready to scale officially and I have the money and the income and I'm ready to take it from here to here, I need to really pump in a lot. But by then I have the systems, the sales, the processes. I already have my fundamentals in place, my foundation of good client base.
Yeah. You open a second location in Orlando,
right,
you're going to run some ads.
Right.
Okay? But that makes sense. But that's at a different phase of your business cycle. Right? If you just launched your first day in Orlando and you lived in Orlando your whole life, and you have trainer friends in Orlando, like, that's not the time. You don't need ads at that time. That's where you start with relationships. You know what I mean? But ads have their time. Like, what do they say? I think is it Lamborghini? I've heard a couple times, like, the Lamborghini doesn't run ads on TV.
I've never seen a Lamborghini ad.
Because people that buy Lamborghinis aren't sitting home watching TV. Right, like they're out doing something, right? That's why, and I mean that may be true or not true. I've heard something to that effect with regards to
ads. I guess Tesla
but
does the same thing too. They haven't done any ads, but people talk about it. Like, what's that?
Content strategy.
Yeah,
they do content.
Yeah,
and they're
Yeah, they do tier 2, and I don't know. I've never bought a Tesla, so I don't know what their relationship management is like, but I'd imagine that it's probably pretty good because
It seems like everybody who has a Tesla enjoys the customer service. Like, I don't hear people talking
Negative about the experience, whether it's purchasing it,
getting service on it, selling them, whatever.
yeah. So they're doing aside from all the things they're doing right, they're doing something else right with regard to
Probably helps that Elon Musk is in the news every other article.
yeah,
with all his
exactly.
space.
Content.
what else do he do? Oh, he sells.
Teslas.
Yeah, exactly. I want one of those. Yeah, so that's pretty much it from my side. So how's
so cap it off. You got
Yeah.
because so tier 1, tier 2, tier 3,
Tier 4. Let's
finish with that. Just a quick
yeah. So
synopsis.
tier 1 is essentially brand advocacy management. It's relationship management. It's putting systems in place to make sure you take care of your customers and start to build out your infinite loop of repurchasing and or referrals.
Okay.
Tier 2 is where when we start from tier 1, tier 2 is your website and everything, your lead magnet, all of your first impression stuff. So the referral is going to go to your website, and that's where you need to convert them into put them in the line to be the next happy customer, right? So that's tier 2, is making sure that you have that infrastructure available for them so you make the good first impression. Because that's the first time they're going to be seeing you. They've heard about you,
Right.
but that's the first time they're going to be seing you.
So seeing your branding, your colors, are you professional or is it a
Exactly.
shady operation?
Exactly.
Like,
What's your messaging? What are you offering me? Can I trust you? I know my friend said that you're cool, but
Right.
I still want to check you out
Right.
myself, right? So that's that first impression thing.
My friend also voted for that other guy.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, exactly. So that's the first impression thing. So then, once I feel like that once that's locked down, your next smartest marketing move is your content strategy. And what your content strategy is marketing content strategy. It's creating content, whether it's your blogs, so your pillar content on your website, or your with also supports SEO. So it's your SEO strategy, your social media strategy, your newsletter strategy, whatever types of email marketing you're doing aside from that. That's all tier 3. That's all just people getting people to know you a little bit better, and it all points back to your foundation, your website. Everything's going to point back to there, somewhere on your website, not necessarily your homepage, some landing page, something targeted specific to what you're trying to call your call to action in your organic reach. Then at some point after that, we start looking at paid reach, and it's in unique circumstances. Like, for example, you have your chain of gyms here. You want to open one in Orlando.
Yeah.
You could pay. You would do some paid advertising there to get that thing off the ground, but the paid advertising would not continue, should not need to continue if you have the rest of the things in place. So it would be more of a specific type of campaign that you would want to run from a paid side. And there's a couple of other circumstances where you would include paid. I'm not the enemy of paid ads. Right. I'm just the enemy of 95% of entrepreneurs using paid ads, because I don't think that they're doing it right. They're certainly not putting enough money into it, because you're not gonna get a $5 a day Facebook ad that's gonna, I just don't see that happening. I don't know what the number is because I don't do it. It's a lot. Yeah, exactly. And but it works. It works. They all work. Yeah. They all work if you put the time, the energy, the effort, the dedication to it. You just have to decide, do I want to spend more money, less time, low conversion, or down the scale like we discussed earlier.
And I wish somebody would have
told me that, because I, in my down periods, and I was like, what next? After COVID, and
I'm like, well, maybe I need to spend on ads, because I
haven't done that yet. I haven't tried that. I've been doing this other stuff where, naturally, just intuitively, and it's working. But I've got staff now. I need leads. It's getting more expensive. My overhead's getting higher. I have a bigger space now. So let's do this ad thing. This guy promises me, we're going to get all these leads. But then I didn't have, like I said, I didn't have the sales cycle or the sales process in place. So they didn't tell me that when they were selling me the ads. And,
right.
Right.
They're just going to sell you the ads. They're not going to say, do you have ABC in place in order to do.
So I think business owners really understanding that and knowing how important this is before you start moving into the other things,
it's a game
changer. Like, I wouldn't probably know you. I'd be in a different city with my 10th location at this point if I would have heard this 10 years ago.
Oh, that's that's awesome. Well, I mean, it's not awesome. You know what I mean.
But as
I
a business
appreciate
owner,
you saying that.
I've always been, I hate to say it, ambitious. I want to get out there and change the world, and whether it's cliche or not, but that's what most entrepreneurs want to do. We want to solve a problem, give it to the world, and try to change the world in our short amount of time on Earth. So as that window closes and you're not where you thought you would be, and you get frustrated and your business is like barely hanging on because nobody taught you the basics, because you're an entrepreneur, you figure shit out, you're smart, I'll figure it out.
No, I didn't.
And and it's just now I'm seeing
All these things, and I wish you would taught me that.
and I would have saved a lot of money on ads,
Or had built all the
systems to implement the ads the right way when they needed, at the time that they needed to be implemented.
But
So let me ask you a question then. Knowing this, what you know now, from the perspective of how can I create this opportunity for more business owners? What do you think, as the business owner, that I need to be doing in my referral marketing? How do I create a client, like what I'm doing with my clients?
I think
How do I prompt them? Because I know what I'm already doing, but we all think we know what we're doing, right? And even though we're profitable, and even though we've got clients, and even though everything's going well, we too want to grow, right? So from your perspective, my question, I'm curious, is how do you believe that I can curate and prompt and design the relationships with my existing clients so that they have the proper vocabulary to speak about what I can do for other business owners?
I think it's just really illustrating how the cost from here to here is, and it's not even a cost. It costs in most money and time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, we got all these leads coming in with this ad spend, but now I have to take the time to go through a sales process with somebody that is probably cold as hell and is ready, has 10 more appointments lined up after me, and I just wasted an hour with this person, but they're the wrong person, because I didn't realize
This person could sell me these ads and it sounds great, I'm getting leads, but I didn't realize that, there's cold leads, hot leads. I didn't know all that. So just the education of why is this cheap, really effective thing? What's its purpose? Why are you learning about this? Why do you not need ads at this point? The phases, maybe teach them about the phases of your business. Because
like you said, at certain times ads is the right thing, but
earlier phases, you need to be really nurturing your core customers and figure out your landing pages and your website, and does it I for years I bounced around different websites, and then finally I didn't know what a call to action was. Like, there's so many things that I didn't know that are so simple to me now. I'm like, duh. But I've been in business for 17 years, and I've probably just learned some of these things a few months ago.
Right.
So I think the
challenge is getting through to people that don't know that they need to get that you need to get through to.
No, I get, because that's so that's really where my values line up, right? My mission lines up with entrepreneurship and time freedom and freedom for your family and freedom to choose, to live the life you want and do the things you want. And that's how I've designed my life, and that's the purpose that I feel one of the core purpose of my life is to create that opportunity for other people. And that's why I started leaning into this idea of consulting and teaching people through, whether investing in real estate or designing business processes or whatever. I'm not the coach type business person.
Did you say impact the other night or something?
Impact
Was that you?
impact is is the
In a
acronym.
men's group the other night, you were talking about, I think it was you that said impact.
Yeah, yeah.
And you want to have that impact on somebody.
Yeah, that's actually the acronym for my testimonial process, is
cool.
impact. That's a whole other
talk about
conversation.
that
It's a
later.
6-step process to how to get the effective testimonials.
But impact's a good word because I needed to be impacted.
Nobody impacted me.
So
Like,
what I
early
mean
on.
is like what I'm trying to always, right? Always evolve my own processes is design the strategy not from a profitability standpoint, but how do I introduce this idea to more people who are unaware of it, right? Create that awareness, because this is exactly what I just talked about for the last hour, is getting people to that awareness stage. But it's funny because when I think about it from a money perspective, I feel like I know that answer. But when I think about it from, I just want people to know that this thing exists, because one of the challenges that we do have, you mentioned it with regards to you impacting the world. As an individual, you can only impact so many people, especially if it's in-person type stuff like personal training, for example, or one-to-one coaching, right? But with the digital age, we now have the ability to impact vast amounts of people. And not only just directly from our mouths, because no matter what I do at this stage in my life, I'm never going to help anybody heal from a neck injury. Like, that's just not me, right? But if I can help you become a better business person, you can then satisfy that need to make the world a better place through fitness and wellness, right? And healthcare. So my lane isn't necessarily fixing the neck injury, but it's helping you get better at business so you can widen your net. And then subsequently, each one of those people who are now healed from some trauma, let's say, can now expand their impact on the world. So I don't always look at this from a profitability standpoint and a business standpoint. I look at this from like, how can I spread the word, and what is the kind of the key thing that would get people to listen to this type of a message?
I think simplicity, always
Default to how can we teach this to a second grader? Obviously, that's
because
I think a lot of times we just get overwhelmed with all the terminologies and the funnels and lead magnets and ad spend and call to actions and
it's just as a business owner, if I'm
working with my clients, I don't have the bandwidth
to like learn about where I should put the call to action button on my website. But at the same time, I know I need a website. So I think just coming at it from, you're really good at what you do, but you
suck at all this other stuff. Let me make it simple for you.
like
Not
in a way that doesn't make them
I would
feel
say
like an
I
idiot.
would say it just like that, though. That's the truth.
And some people need to hear that.
Yeah.
I think 10 years ago, I would have been like, screw you, man. I'll figure this shit out.
Yeah.
I got this. So maybe figuring out a questionnaire to
figure out what kind of person they are. So are they willing to accept this advice and utilize it because it's going to change your life? Or are they like, nah, bro, I got this shit. I'm going to watch some tutorials. I'm going to read a book or two.
Yeah.
and I'll fumble through and figure it out at some point. And then 2 years later, they're in the same place.
I know, and that's what I'm actually trying to prevent, because with regards to clients, I absolutely vet my clients. I have a section that says who you need to be in order for me to work with you, right? High agency, self-starter, right? Action taker, all of these things, because from the consulting side, I basically just tell you something like this, for example, and then it's on you. Like, it's up to you. Go do this, because I don't just discuss, lead generation. We talk about pricing strategy. We talk about just systems. The only thing I don't touch is HR, because I don't really like people that much. No, I'm just, but I don't like dealing with people that much.
Right.
HR in this era, everyth's a little bit. I just stay way clear of that, right? I stay way clear of HR. So nobody call me for HR.
Yeah.
But most other things, you need funding. You need to learn how to write a pitch deck. You need to know how to speak to investors so you can raise capital. Got you. All these things, right? So with regards to clients, with regards to people who I'm willing to work with. But I still think that you 15 years ago, that's where I have my desperation for, like, I still want to break through to that person so they don't have to suffer for 10 years before they realize that some of the things matter, some of the things don't matter. But but as a business owner, you should be willing to, like, I don't know, just absorb some element of fundamental training. Not necessarily that I'm even the one to provide it, or maybe through content. Maybe I'll start doing more content in that vein and say, hey, you might think you don't need to know this, but listen for 5 minutes, and maybe not as a lead gen for myself, but strictly as the value add to the hard-headed business owner who thinks that they know the answer.
Well, it's interesting. You have schools, business schools.
Hey,